It's Andy from Man City Fan TV, and welcome to this preview for Wednesday night's game at Turf Moor versus Burnley. And I'm really pleased to say we've got Scott back on. Scott's our regular on the channel. Scott, can you just move on just a tiny touch to
that way?
Brilliant, super.
That's it.
That handsome hair that we've just been talking about.
Look at
that. We've got Scott on again, and as we always do when we play Burnley. So how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, bearing up. Season's taking shape, so quite happy at the moment.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do tonight is we've got about an hour, so we've got a bit of a structure and a bit of a format going tonight. So we'll just see who is on the channel. Then we're going to look at City stats versus Burnley stats from 2020, where we were after 20 games, and where both teams currently are. We'll look at, I'll ask Scott about the season so far. I've got a question to him about Dyche versus Klopp after that tunnel stuff. Where Scott thinks Burnley might finish this season. Thoughts on his lineup for Wednesday night and his score prediction. And some people did on the community chat today put some questions that they wanted to ask Scott, so I'll do those quickly, and then Scott can ask us questions and ask me questions about that. But before we do, just very quickly, I'm going to see who is on. Lewis Yates, how are you, mate? We've agreed a deal for Braff. Yes, we have. And I posted there below that it's a loan deal with an option of 9 million if they wish to take it. Would be worth it if, let's see whether if that is the case and whether they will take it. Anyway, Udinese confirmed it. There you go. Hi, Sean. How are you? Kex is on. Hi, boys. Sammy El Gringo is on. Hi, everyone. But sorry if we don't go through all your chats tonight because we've got a lot to talk about in this hour with Scott. But anyway, if you've got questions, please post them. And if we have time at the end, we definitely will do. But I do want to, the people who took the time to post questions in the community chat, I will ask those questions of Scott. So first up, Scott, stats. I was looking at some stats today with regards to City and Burnley. Now, I know it's a slightly different season. Because we're normally, I think, about 27 games into the season by now, but we're only at 20 per se. And I was looking at, we are certainly, we're only looking at 20 games in. Now, Burnley, this time last year, you got a 0-0 draw with Arsenal. Good point, a very good point. I think Dyche said that after the match. You finished 10th last year with 54 points. Now, this time last year, played 20, won 7, drawn 3, lost 10. Goals for 23, goals against 32. You had a -9 goal difference, sitting on 24 points this time last year. This year, you're currently 16th. After 20 games, you've won 6, so 1 less. You've drawn 4, 1 more. And you've lost the exact same amount, which is 10. And you're 2 points off where you were last season. Goals for 23 last year, 13 this year. Goals against last year, 32, 26 this season so far. So -13 goal difference. As it is, last 5 games, lost, won, lost. Your goal scorers in 2020 finished up with Woods on 14, Rodriguez on 8, and Barnes on 6. This season so far, you've got Woods on 40. Oh, I'm sorry, 40. I bet you wish. 4. Rodriguez on 2, and Westwood, on 2, and McNeil on 2. What does those stats say to you so far? And which leads me on to my next question before I come back to City is, what's happened this season? Is it the same as last season, but you are 16th instead of 10th where you finished last year, and are you worried?
I don't focus on the 4 strikers because I think they're all capable of bagging goals. It's the midfield, and if we get through this season and we stay up, which I think we all do now, then Sean Dyche becomes like going from like a decent manager to become a miracle worker, because the only midfielder that we've signed is Dale Bloody Stevens.
Yeah,
and that's and we've still got 22 points, and the service is just not there for me. The creative service is just not there for us. I think the hard work and the teamwork and the unity, it's all there. Everything's still there, all those things. But that creativity to just create more chances for any of those 4 strikers, up front is just not quite the same. So I think that's why we're looking in the window now and thinking, we're going to sign anyone. Oh, we're not. But, if we get through this season, the only person we've signed is Dale Bloody Stevens, then, Sean Dyche goes to, he gets elevated from even higher status in my book.
Yeah, I mean, it says it there. Like I said, last season, you'd scored 23 goals. This time, the 20 games, you scored 13. Yeah. That's 10 goals. And for a team like Burnley, who don't notoriously score 4s and 5s and things that clearly add up and make a difference between those two figures, 10 goals is a lot. That's like, if you want to equate it, that's like 5 2-0 wins for you. Is it a worry that you're not creating and not going to score enough goals to finish on 54 points where you did last year?
Well, I think if we finish on 44, that'll do for this season. To get through this season, to still be there, and then have new owners. By the summer window kicks in, I think we will be dabbling a bit more. Sort of like we might be beating you to signings from Rochdale or sort of. But you just think, where were we? Where were we on that guy? Where were we on these things? But has that been the reason why? Is it because of the takeover? You think you've not really spent any cash? The expectation from fans is gone. That Andy Pace did say when he came in, we will be dabbling in the market, and he's not. So he's actually, kind of gone back on his word, even though it is a weird window and a difficult window, and COVID underlying. Yeah. It's hard work, and the squad has. Well, until about 3 or 4 days ago, the squad had actually got back up to full strength, and we've re-signed. We've set deals with 3 or 4 players, so they've got contract extensions. So in some ways, they're sort of signings. So the squad's actually looking pretty good. We might now have lost Wood as well as Barnes. So that might preempt one of your questions for later on. Who's going to play on Saturday? On Wednesday. But I just think we've really sort of gone through the first bit of the season and survived off a squad that was struggling and picked up the pace. And similar to yourselves, picked up the pace. And I mean, we scored 4 goals. 4 out of those. How many goals have we scored? 4 in total. We scored 4 out of the last 3 games. In the last 3 games.
Yeah.
So in some ways, we scored 3 against Fulham in the cup away, which was a good result. And
those were just Premier League stats, by the way. They were.
So I was thinking of adding those 3 in as well. But so I think we're in a rich vein of form. We didn't really have any shots on target or create any shots against Chelsea, but I think we came out there in the first half and actually played with a bit more freedom and a bit, moving it around. So quite happy, really. Quite happy overall. And I'm not too fussed about this window per se. But I think we just expected more from the new owner, hearing what he said when he first came in. So you kind of I mean, if you and Liverpool can be buying players for 2 or 3 million from clubs that are just sort of a stone's throw away from us, why can't we be doing that?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
even if it's just a substitute player for, backup for possible injuries going forward.
To be fair, our 2-3 million players that we pick up are kids for the academy, not for the first team squad. I can't remember the last time we spent 2-3 million on somebody that went into the first team squad. But all right, we've had a few frees in here, there, and everywhere. But okay, interesting. Yeah. For the sake of the City fans, and then I'll look at a few chats. I was looking at the City stats as well. Because obviously we had a bit of a slow start to the season. I was always confident that we would turn it around. So if we look at 2020 for Manchester City after 20 games, we'd won 13, we drew 2, and we'd lost 5. We were on 41 points with a goals for. I'm talking about the season now. Sorry, we finished second last season, 81 points. We won 26, drawn 3, lost 9. With a goal difference of 67. At this time last year, we'd scored 54 goals and conceded 23 on a goal difference of 31. This season, currently after 20 games, we've won 13, drawn 5, lost 2. So we've lost 3 less games this season to last year. And last year, we're at this point, we're on 41 points. This year, we're on 44 points. We've still got a game in hand, and we've gone to the top of the table. Goals for 37, goals against 13. So again, like your 10 difference of what you scored last season compared to what you are now, we've conceded 10 less at this moment in time compared to last year with a goal difference of 24. So we're not scoring as many. We're scoring 17 less than we have, but we're conceding 10 less in the 20 games than we have been. Our last 5 games have been 5 wins. So if you look at your, and then I'll look at yours. Premier League 2020, we had Sterling on 20, Aguero on 16. This was finishing last season. Jesus 14, KDB 13, and Mahrez on 11. This season so far, we've got Gundogan on 7, Sterling 6, Mahrez 5, Foden 4, KDB 3, alongside Jesus on 3. So you can see your guys.
I love how you pronounce Jesus. You get it right, don't you?
Jesus, yeah.
You know you get it right.
you're not scoring as many, and we don't know, the season isn't over. But to go from Sterling, the top scorer, on 20 at the moment, we're on Gundogan with 7. We're still spreading it around a little bit, but we're nowhere. I don't think at the moment we're hitting anywhere so far with like a 10s, 11s, 12s like we have done previously. So a big switch around between sort of your team is conceding. We're conceding less. We've now gone top of the table with a game in hand. So it's looking good for us the way it's going at the moment. And I'm sure for you, you're just hoping at the moment, which my next question would be about your finishing position. Because considering you finished 10th last year, which you would suggest on 54 points is a pretty decent finish for Burnley, considering the money that you don't spend.
Yeah.
At the moment, you're in 16th. Where do you think you're going to finish this year?
Between 16th and 10th.
Somewhere 13th, maybe.
No, at the lower end of that, I think, sort of 14, 15 or 16. Maybe I'd take 17 at the moment. I think just to get through this season with all the weirdness that COVID's thrown at it, just to get through. And we're going through a transitional period with the new owners, to get through and then wipe away this year and just set off again. I think that's realistically. But working it out now, or working out before the Chelsea game, I always say that any of the bottom 3 have got to win 3 games, and we've got to lose 3 games at the same time for them to catch us up. So it's very unlikely that we'll lose 3 games on the row. Once or twice in a season, we will do that, but it's very unlikely that Sheffield United, Fulham, and West Brom are going to win 3 games on the bounce at the same time. So I think we're safe, and I think you could statistically argue that we're safe right now. God knows we get that wrong.
We'll be back at the end of the season.
Remind me of that. Well, I'll be more worried about actually us going down than me being wrong if that does happen. But so I think we'll be safe. So it's anywhere between sort of, I think realistically 16th and 11th or 12th maybe. I think that'll be. I don't think we'll be in the top 10. Like you said, 10th is a really good finish for us, and I think that's where we'd like to be consistently. But I don't think it's going to happen. Dale Stephens ain't going to make that happen. Dale Stephens with the only buy of the year, it's not going to happen.
Well, it's not so far, but you never know. We might have a bit of a turnaround and things like that. Just going back to
no apologies to Dale Stephens. Sorry.
No. Leonard, how are you, mate? Wasn't Scott on a couple of years ago? Says Jack Lee. He's been on loads of times. He was on not so long ago, weren't you? A few months ago.
Did I predict the score right last time I was on?
I think you might have done. Somehow. I can't remember the score, but I'm sure you did. Dudley Lewis is on. Hi. Jamie Short. Hi, guys. I'm good, Lewis Yates. I'm good, Andy. You? Yeah, very good, mate. Evening, Noah's on. Evening, how you doing? Dupe's on. Hi, Scott and Andy. Sean's thinking 3-1 to City. We'll come to the score predictions shortly. Ray Fernley's on. Evening, lads. How are you, Ray? Hi. Tim Smith, our resident Leeds fan. He's on. And as you can see, He's always hi all in the chat. He's smashed the like button. There you go for these great guys. He's a nice fella. Shedder's one is on. How are you, mate? Got a load of score predictions coming in, but we'll move to I think was Kurt on then. Did I miss Kurt? Yeah, Kurt's here. Hello, lads. Hope you're all good. Kurt's one of our contributors to the channel. Does a really good job. Hope you're doing well, Kurt. Just see if there's anyone on. FIFA, Yo, Andy and Scott, how are you, mate? Addy's on. How are you, mate? You okay? Adam Quinn, he's gone for 4-0. He's gone for Sterling or somebody else. FIFA M says, Scott supports City. It's not going to happen, mate. It's not going to be happen. Ray Fairley says, great show. Thank you. Good to see you, Scott, says Dudley Lewis. Great. Right. So your season is somewhere between 16th and 10th. Like I said, at this moment in time, we're going to look at the Burnley questions to Scott first, and then we're going to switch it around. And I've got a couple of other questions from the people in the community chat for Scott, and then we're going to talk Man City. But one thing I did want to question you on, Dyche versus Klopp. We saw that tunnel bust up. Who wins?
It's like Mayweather against McGregor, isn't it? There's only ever one winner. There's only ever one winner there, isn't there? I think that moment where Dyche just turned around, stood his ground, and Klopp sort of went. Oh,
You know? It was like he went chasing him, didn't he? And then suddenly, just this big skinhead just turned around and looked at him.
I think we've all seen that sort of situation in different social settings.
Absolutely.
I guess the truth will never come out. Will it really? What was said on that day? They both kind of battered it off in the interviews. But I think it was quite a key moment for us winning that game. In that we had them rattled. Significantly had them rattled. The players were rattled on the pitch. Sort of we'd gone out about the first half in the way that we do. We'd unsettled them. We got amongst them. Haven't created much, but we went in 0-0 down. We went in 0-0. So we weren't 1-0 down. We went 2-0 down. So we were in with a chance, and they were obviously desperate to win that game because look what's happened since. So I mean, it was. It must have been worth more than one goal. I mean, we can mark that down as 5 goals for Burnley on that one. I'm sure City fans were all cheering for us that night. But,
were we ever? It was just interesting because you've seen Klopp at Dortmund and things like getting all irate on. Sometimes you think, how much is that for the cameras and things? But he looked really rattled. It was almost like Dyche walked off, almost chuckling to himself. And Klopp that angry. He went. How many times do you see managers chase another manager down the tunnel?
But they have history. They have history. Those two.
Yeah.
Dyche doesn't have much history with many managers. He's pretty cordial, I think, and he's sort of no one would mess with him anyway. So I think they're all nice to him. But Klopp's been really animated. I think at Turf Moor a couple of times, and Dyche is they've almost squared off then as well. So I don't think they've been sharing bottles of wine or anything like that for games over the last few seasons anyway. So
no, I don't think we have.
Go on.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I think that was just a culmination of all that, and finally maybe Dyche was going to get one over on him, and we'd frustrated him last season. We drew 0-0 there last season as well. So I mean, it's kind of like. Yeah, I mean, yes, we did the Scousers. Brilliant. It was brilliant.
We were thinking the same. Ray Furner says, "Love Burnley spanking the Dippers." There you go. So
there you go.
Alec Johnson's on. Hello, Alec. How are you, mate? So, what's your thoughts on the lineup for Wednesday? Your lineup, considering you just mentioned there, I think you mentioned was about. Wood and Barnes, are they out for Wednesday?
Barnes was struggling, and he didn't play at Chelsea after the Liverpool game. He was struggling, and then Woods picked up a. They haven't diagnosed it properly yet, but I think he's pulled an hamstring maybe, so he might be out for some time. We haven't heard any news on that today, but so it's looking like that. But it's funny because the Burnley fans going up until let's say the Fulham game was like, come on, change it around. You got to do something different. Everyone was crying out for Vidra and Rodriguez to be given a starting chance. And probably not by listening to the fans, but by the fact of injuries and stuff, we're probably going to have a Vidra and Rodriguez starting up front together. Unless he goes with the young lad, Mbongo, if he starts him, but probably not against City. I don't think so. So that's probably your starting two. But apart from that, it's like the 4-4-2 will be pretty much the same as what we've seen. You know, Alton's not doing a bad job, and I think one guy we're really missing is Charlie Taylor. You know, he's been, and Peters has stood in for us really well, I think, but in for Charlie Taylor, who's a bit injured. So I think that's where he takes a bit of a dimension in attacking down the same side as Dwight McNeil. So that takes a bit out, but yeah. So I think 4 or 5 weeks ago, you know, like, every time a team sheet comes out for Burnley, the fans just like, oh yeah, it's the same team all the time. And fair play to Dyche, it works for him, you know. He knows best, and he sticks to it, and he sticks to it, and he sticks to it. Don't make a substitution till probably, you know, the 80th minute, never. But the last few weeks, we've seen more changes in the team, the starting team, and substitutions that we've probably seen over the last sort of 12 months put together. So,
what's the depth in your squad like? I mean, obviously not numbers, but I mean, I'm talking about what sort of quality. Have you got any quality that you really can bring on? Maybe 2 or 3 positions, like for like, or is it more?
Yeah, I'd say about probably 3 or 4. You know, I think up front, I think all 4 strikers that we have that can play in that 2 up front.
So they can rotate.
They can rotate. I'm not worried about the strikers. Midfield wise, probably got about 6 out of the 4. You know, so we're struggling a little bit out of replacing all the 4 midfielders. And the back 4, I mean, without me and Tarks together, we really do struggle.
Yeah.
And Kevin Long just signed a new contract, and he's been here with Burnley about 10 years, and he's hardly played any games. My mate was laughing yesterday. He was saying, like, God, it's like he's been furloughed for the last 10 years, you know. But why would you, as a pro, why would you want to stay and not play? You know, it's a
exactly.
at your face, but he gets salary, and he probably enjoys it with the lads training every day. But so, you know, I love Bardo. I love Bardsley's great when he can fit in at right back pretty well. So I think we've got that covered. But yeah, I think we struggle really. I think the depth of the squad, when you're thinking, could you put a starting 11 out, which was different almost by 8 players, and expect to produce the same quality in the way that City could, you know?
Yeah, of course.
We can't do that, you know. So probably, you know, we could. Yeah, I mean, we could scrape through the first round of the FA or third round of the FA Cup, and it'd be more interesting to see who he plays in our cup tie a week from now.
Yeah,
and see if he does rotate it round. But you know, put the strongest squad out for sure against City.
Well, Yannicka, she's one of our contributors. She also runs her own YouTube channel as well at Yan City, and she says we don't normally beat Burnley by as much away from home, but we should win. Well, you're guessing, considering we're top of the table with a game in hand, you'd expect playing against Burnley at 16th. It's not going to be an easy game, but we're expected to win. But the way it's going at the moment, who knows? Respect Burnley doing these dippers like Dyche telling off flop. Even Blues OG, the baby, how are you? Let's go in. Who else have we got? Hope Burnley stay, like Dyche, especially after giving it to Klopp, but City are an animal. Well, we're playing well at the moment. Which leads me on to a couple of questions from on our community chat today. Sean Fogarty put a few hours ago, hi Scott, what Burnley player should I be looking out for? So there you go. That's from Sean Fogarty. Thanks for that, Sean. Sean's wants to know which player should City be looking out for tomorrow.
They start at the back. England's number 1, Nick Pope. You know, I think that's the key to us, you know, reducing the score. or the City goals, and I think that's where we did well against Liverpool, and then against Villa. I mean, Villa should have been 3 or 4-0 up at half time against us, and he kept us in the game. Pure and simply, he kept us in the game. So I think you're always starting from them, and then if me and Tarks are on form, then we do stand a chance of getting beyond that first 25 minutes, maybe getting to half time with a 0-0, and then we can turn it on a bit more in the second half and maybe open up a little bit. Matt Neal's been in a good vein of form in the last few games. It seems like he's getting there a bit, but he kind of does struggle a little bit without Charlie Taylor. And I think Peters won't get us forward as far as Charlie Taylor does if he's playing. So Matt Neal might have a better game.
You mentioned Taylor a few times there. Is that the player you think you're really missing?
As far as attacking, I mean, it's kind of like, sorry to mention the Scousers again, but it's kind of like Alexander Arnold not playing for Liverpool and, down that one side. He's kind of he's such an attacking fullback. And given the space, which City don't give you much space, but I think it's we do miss him on the attacking formation, but we didn't miss him in the second half against Villa, which was good to see that they opened it up. But I think Villa were just tired, and I don't know, they haven't really played much, did they? But that's a different question, I think.
It was interesting you mentioned Pope, because one of the other questions I'm going to read out was, if I could find it, somebody did mention something about Pope. Read more, maybe. So, yes. A question for Scott from Jack Lee. He says, do you think Nick Pope should be England's number 1?
Yes, I'm a Burnley fan, but I'm a Pope fan. But it's a difficult one. I mean, because I think the strongest argument for keeping Pickford in is that he's never let England down, even though he's let City down a few times. He's let Everton down.
Oh no, he's been all right for us. Against us.
So I mean, I really can't see out of consistency and all those things why Pickford would get in, and even also, I'm just thinking emotional stability. I just think Pope's such as the characteristic of Pope, and the only thing that you can see him get is his distribution of the ball, which I'm like, he's there to use his hands, not his feet, more than anything, and he's way better than I think Pickford is on current form in the last year or two than Pickford is. So, even the Man United keeper, Henderson get above Pickford. Yeah. So I mean, probably that'd be a fairer fight, a fairer discussion. I think, Henderson or Pope. But I think I don't know. I just don't think Southgate. I think Southgate's made his mind up.
I mean, I must admit, I'd have Pope every day. Henderson's another good player, but I mean, if you had the choice of the two, I'd take Pope every day of the week. Every day be Pope. Pickford's, he has brilliant games, and he can be technically brilliant, but then he's just so erratic. I don't think Pope is like. I think he's a pretty much 8 out of 10, 7, 8 out of 10 every game.
A lot of it's up here with
of course.
You stand there, especially if you. I think maybe that's the argument with Pope, that he's so busy in keeping busy. If apparently he's busy, then he would be sort of if he was like keeping goal for you lot, where he's he's got one save to make all game.
Well, it was interesting. Listening to the guys last night, they were talking about Ederson's performance, and against Sheffield United, we won 1-0, but I mean we completely dominated until the last few seconds where they finally had a shot, but Ederson had nothing to do apart from who am I going to ping this pass out to, and who am I going to control this and pass that out to. But he kept his focus right at the end, where other keepers we've had at City sometimes have switched off when they've had nothing to do all game, and right at the death, can pull off I'm not a world, but a decent save. And we've seen lots of keepers do that in the Premier League. So for me, Pope for me every day of the week for England. Or Henderson, like I said, he's a good keeper. But my last question to you before.
Well, hopefully Southgate's tuning in. I don't see him in the comments, but
hey, you never know. He might be OG the baby. Somehow I doubt it, but you never know. OG the baby might be Gareth Southgate in disguise. What's your score prediction before we move on to your questions to me about Man City and some of the guys in the comments?
I've been thinking about this all day actually, and it's very difficult, but I think it'll be similar to that Chelsea game the other night. I think it's going to be like 2-0 to City. You know, I can't really see us scoring at the moment. I just can't see us against City. You know, I can't see us scoring. And I also think after we've had those 2 amazing wins against Liverpool and Villa, you know, I've never been as so animated in my recliner as it was against Villa. Even you know, the Liverpool win was great, but like, so I think we've kind of get that, and they've probably gone, oh, thank God we're safe, you know, and we've got, you know, it's a free hit really against City. Really, it's a free hit. And
well, you said you've got the FA Cup game coming up. Did you say you've got?
And Dyche, you know, traditionally doesn't go for the FA Cup. So for us to get this far and not draw you, which if we get this far, we usually draw City. So to actually have Bournemouth at home, a winnable tie for us, and you know, on the back of the last few results, maybe he'll have a bit of a go at that. But I mean, he'll still play a stronger side against City, I'm sure, because there's always a chance that, I mean, if we can beat Liverpool away, why can't we beat you at home? I mean, it's still within the realms.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, absolutely.
Yeah. It's still
you only need us. I mean, you saw, you know, we destroyed West Brom with wonderful football, and then Sheffield United frustrated us. Even though we were very comfortable for most of the game, you know, we got that early goal, but then we didn't really push on with it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think there was so much media hype around United coming up the league, and then Liverpool sort of dropping and failing back. You just snuck in there, and I think that's taken a lot of pressure off the players. And you know, you're in a rich vein of form. You've seemingly sorted your defence out. You've not had all that problem you had a year or two ago. And you were saying, I mean, the last thing you said to me on the last call before the last game was like, you know, midfield's not moving fast enough. And what's his name went and scored 2 you know, in that game. So I really can't see you not winning this game. Just, I mean, why do we have to play you every time you're in a rich vein of form? But you know, it is what it is.
Of course it is. Right. Let me just see if anyone else is in. I think OG the baby's laughing there. It is. Okay. We definitely know it's Gareth South.
Big glove OG, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. DJ Mo says, hi everyone. Sorry being late. Not a problem, mate. Tom Beck says, does Burnley have any pace up top? It's the only way I see Burnley scoring a quick counter. I mean, our defence has been absolutely phenomenal. With Diaz, Diaz coming in. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. John Stone's coming back to
form.
Probably better than he was when he was at Everton. He's really hit a rich vein of form with Diaz, and then we've had Cancelo coming in, playing in this sort of false 8 role that Pep sort of adopted on one side, and then when he doesn't, last against Sheffield United, he was rested and Walker played, and then Zinchenko played the inverted role. And the defence is absolutely superb at the moment. Really, really. I mean, it's one of those that even though in previous years we've been scoring a lot, you always think, yeah, we're going to get caught on the counter break. You know, it's rarely 0, 5-0, 4-0. It's been 4-1, 4-2, or there's been close. At the moment, you think you're going to have to really be excellent to score. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to have to really be very creative, very talented, or get a massive stroke of luck, because at the moment we don't look like conceding anything.
Yeah. I've been from set pieces because I mean, the Burnley way is sort of, you know,
of course it is,
a free kick or a corner, and a nice ball comes in, and you know, one of the centre halves heads it in, or there's a flick on. So that's, you know, that's a legitimate threat that we have against you.
Yeah.
Pushing aside the pace question, because I don't think I can, you know, answer your statement and say, hey, we've got players to get around the back of you and beat you for pace, because we don't. And you know, so I think realistically, you know, the threat has got to come from those sort of set pieces and that sort of you know, talks over bend me header.
It might take something like that. But right, your questions to me. I've got a couple of comments on here. We've got Arsenal for Life saying, "Come on, City." Ellison might as well have.
Why is he saying, "Come on, City"? Has he got something against Burnley or something? I don't know. Because we beat them earlier this season.
It comes on Comes on quite a lot. What's your starting 11? I'm going to talk about that towards the end, Charlie. I'm going to give my starting 11 and score prediction and things like that. And I will read out some of the guys who posted on the community chat. There's Mahrez must start. You mean Mr. Stones and Mr. Diaz? Yeah. Let Burnley have Mahrez for a tenner.
Oh, yeah, give me.
I'm sure they take him. Jay Snap says, "Hi guys, hope you're well. Would you give Sergio minutes against Burnley and start him against Liverpool?" No, I don't think I think he only had one training session today. I think he was in the gym yesterday, back today on the training pitch. I don't think he's anywhere near fit after COVID. Right, your questions to me, mate, and then towards the end, we've got about 20 minutes to go. So I will read out some of the guys who they think is going to be the start up, and I'll give you my starting lineup and prediction.
What, my questions to you? Was I
yeah,
supposed to prepare some?
Oh, hey,
okay.
I know you. I know you can think on your feet anyway. So,
seeing as it's transfer deadline day, I've got my Happy Monday T-shirt on.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, so it's transfer deadline day.
Otherwise, he's an adopted man.
I've always been a Mondays fan, but yeah, it's deadline day, otherwise known in Burnley as Monday.
That was funny. That picture you sent me today.
Yeah, with a boarded up window. Yeah. Who would you know out of your say under 23 development side, or sort of one of those players? You know, who would you sort of recommend Burnley would buy from you for 10, 15 million?
I don't know about buy. I don't know about.
I'll get on loan.
Oh, loan. Okay. I would say buy, but if you wanted loan players, now one player who I absolutely think has got a future at Manchester City, maybe not now, might have to go on loan and might have to come back or something. You took Ben Mee from us, and Ben Mee has been an absolute stalwart for you.
Yeah, he's a legend.
If you wanted to take somebody on loan, albeit it'll be into the Premier League against City, but I mean, obviously we've got those issues with teams. I would say, especially talking about Charlie Taylor being a problem, somebody who could play, but you've got Tarkowski and Ben Mee, haven't you? But you have got a potential other centre back who can play also right back, and that's Taylor Howard-Bellis. A wonderful kid, absolutely brilliant. He's not anywhere near ready to.
Is that a triple barrel name?
Taylor Howard-Bellis. Yeah.
Harwood.
No, Taylor Howard-Bellis. Howard-Bellis.
Yeah. Okay.
THB. It's very, very classy.
Because I think we'll sell Tarks in the summer. I think Tarks will go. There's been interest over him, so we need to replace.
I don't think City would sell him. I think if he doesn't stay with the squad, because he's obviously one of the players of about 4 or 5 who were constantly training with the first team squad. But he had a game, the other night, came out in the cup game, but. He's a very classy player and probably needs to go and play football, whether it's at a Premier club or goes to Championship or he goes to one of our feeder clubs abroad.
Was that in the non-league game? You played the non-league side in the cup?
No, we played the Birmingham game.
I didn't see that game. Sorry.
Cup game. So he played in a right back that night, which is normally a centre back. But we've got so many players. I mean, we've got the likes of Tommy Doyle. A wonderful, wonderful player who, if you want creativity and work ethic and everything else in your midfield, Tommy Doyle would suit you down to the ground.
Is he a Joey Barton-esque sort of figure?
No. He's far classier than Joey Barton. He's not a.
I mean, we'd love a Joey Barton.
But he's not like one of a tough tackling blah blah blah. But he's a very technically gifted, creative forward player in midfield. He can hold and he can also play. Further forward, he's a very good player. Again, another player I don't think City would sell. His grandparents were 2 legends of Manchester City, so I don't think they'd sell him. But another player who, if he doesn't get a bit more game time in the next year, or maybe next year, might need a bit of a loan signing to further his career and come back to City at a later date. Because from being at City, we've got a plethora of just talent.
It's the Foden case. I mean, it's like I remember a year ago you were saying will Foden leave because he's not getting a game, and look at him now.
Well, I never. Yeah, we were questioning it, weren't we? Because there were people Foden should go on loan and things like that. We won't mention it, but because it's just a bit of a laugh. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. But I've always said I trust in what Pep's doing with the youth, and if he sees them around squad, like he's seen the likes of Howard, Bellis, Doyle, we've got several other players as well. We just sent Jaden Braff, who's 18, out on loan to Udinese with a potential $9 million option to buy at the end of the season. Another very technically gifted player, looks like a Jadon Sancho type of player, but something not right there with, because he's not even got the EDS squad for months. So
and I think this is what frustrates Burnley fans when we're not picking up people on loan, or we've got so many feeder clubs. In the sense of we've got big clubs around us, we've got massive squads with great talent, and why can't we be ringing 6 clubs up and getting 1 or 2 players every window for a loan period?
I mean, people overlook this with Manchester City. It's one thing that they do overlook is that I know we've got the money. It's a bit different to other teams. I mean, I did a vlog about 2 weeks ago talking about 2 Brazilians at Palmeiras, and that just broke. The news broke and was talking about it yesterday, saying that we're in 2 players. One of them at €5 million, the other one at between 3 and 5, and one of them's an under-17 international and supposed to be the next big thing. And we go for these type of talents, and then we just send them to NAC Breda, or we send them to Girona, or we loan them or back to the original team, just to see, for a €10 million investment, could these be the next? I don't know. So I hate to say Gabi Jesus, because some people are not keen on Gabi Jesus, but could they be the next Sergio Aguero, or the next Leroy Sané, or whatever? And if not, we tend to make money back. I mean, people forget the year before last, we made 150 million in signings of players that people have never heard of. If I asked you, do you know these players? You go,
it's mad, isn't it?
That was a type of money we made. So, there are so many kids, and especially the likes of Doyle, Taylor Howard, Bellis, who are local lads, the Manchester lads, and obviously we've seen Phil Foden progress. I think I trust in Pep. And he sees them every day on the training pitch. And if they've got the right attitude, the work ethic, everything else, and are they good enough to displace a Ilkay Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling? This is the problem you see at Man City. Let's say we're not in a position where you are, like a mid-table-ish team where you could have a kid who's 18, 17, 18, and is better than what you've got. We're talking about 50, 60, 70 million pound players. They've got to try. You've got to keep happy, and they've got to be better than them week in, week out to replace them. So they're 2 players who I think, if you're looking somebody local, I don't know whether it'd happen, but loan players, I don't think City would sell them. But Taylor Howard, Bellis, and Tommy Doyle would be 2. Especially you've got a bit of history with Ben Mee, and he's not done too bad for you, has he?
Yeah, I mean, Ben Mee's been absolutely. I mean, he's a rock. He'll go down as a Burnley legend in the same way as he's been fantastic. But I was just looking at the news then. I mean, there was talking about sort of feeder clubs, and one of the most interesting bit of news on the Burnley feed today was that Burnley have been linked with buying a club in Serie B or Serie C in Italia. And because Pace has said that, Alan Pace, the new owner, has said that. So we've got to confirm whether that rumor is true or not. But they are trying to get sort of partner clubs at least, so that we can actually be bringing and widening that net. But I'm just like, when there's nothing happening, it's kind of weird. But apparently breaking. I've just been on the Twitter feed quickly then, and apparently we've signed an 18-year-old from Galway. Who was playing for Galway's first team when he was 15. So go watch his space. He might be playing on Saturday. He might be the pace.
On Wednesday.
Sorry, I keep saying Saturday. Yeah, he forget what day is these days.
He might be the new Roy Keane.
Well, it might be the pace. It might be the pace that you were asking about earlier. It might be that player that's just going to unsettle your highly ranked back four.
Charlie Everett says here, I'd say McAtee on loan, and I'm going to go down to Chris's. And he went, Charlie Everett, McAtee is our secret. Shush. McAtee's a young kid.
I've just wrote that down.
Yeah. Very, very exciting. Very. technically
old is he?
brilliant. But,
Oh,
17, I think,
right,
17
okay. Yeah.
years, nearly 18. Very, very exciting, but babies, absolute babies. Chris watches a lot of the EDS stuff, and he said he technically is right up there.
Yeah.
So, but again, can you see a McAtee playing for Burnley? I doubt it. I'll be honest with you. You probably want somebody.
I think the loan thing as well. They
Somebody
don't
just
want to loan them out to Premier League teams as well.
Well, there's that as well. But I mean, it depends if you want. Somebody else posted here, might have missed it now. Somebody said Delap, Liam Delap. Somebody just posted.
You mentioned him before.
Lankow says Liam Delap would be a good Burnley player. Yeah, Chris said he's 18.
Is he related to Rory?
He is his son.
Is he? He's his
son? Yeah. He's a big striker. Scored loads of goals in the EDS, but as a real temper. He's been sent off a few times, and he scored a hat-trick last week and then got sent off. And I think that's possibly been his stalling point in the. I don't know. We're not on the inside, but again, is he as good as Sergio, who is back in training, and Gabby Jesus? I don't know, but he's certainly a young kid who's very exciting. Spangs in loads of goals, so maybe a Liam Delap for might be your style if you've got Woods and Barnes and those out. But anyway, any other questions before I go to the line?
Right, one more question. Sort of, how do you think you'll finish? How do you think it's as a neutral, someone who's in the bottom six, watching the top six? It's an exciting season. It's an exciting season. It's up for grabs. I mean, I would probably put my money on City now because I just think they've flown under the radar for so long and they've moved along. They've got themselves, the consistency's there. Yeah. But how do you see it playing out if you can be objective on that question?
I've said it from day one, and I've said it even when we were having at the beginning of the season when we went, 4 or 5 games in, and other people were questioning City. I said, "We'll win the league. We'll win the league." And I said back in September, October, I said, "You wait until January, February, March. We'll hit our stride." And this is such a weird season that teams at the time, Liverpool looks like they were going to run away with it, and I couldn't see it. I just thought it's going to be a weird season this year, and it turned out with Everton being top, Spurs being top, United being top, and United are creeping under the radar a little bit. I mean, and you look at Everton. All right, I think Everton got beat the other night, which was a big shock. But they could have been third in the league if they would have won. Yeah. I think they had a game in hand as well, something like that. But no, I said it all along. I just thought City would win the league, and I said earlier on, I think Pep is really focusing on the Champions League this year. But I think we'd be top right now at the end of January, beginning of February. I didn't think so. I thought maybe towards middle of Feb, whatever. But I did say if Pep is. If we're anywhere near in with a shout come February, March, Pep will go for both competitions. He won't just go for one. But I do think maybe by the looks of it, he is going to focus on the Champions League as a priority. But there's no way he'll drop one over the other. If we're in the shout where we are now, first with a game in hand, he'll go for both.
So follow-on question then. If your prediction comes true, how will it feel to win the league and not be able to be there? It's
horrendous. I mean, horrendous. I mean, I do, as much as I can't stand the dippers and everything else, I feel for their fans because, winning the league after all those years of not winning the league, then they win it and no fans are allowed in the stadium. It's horrendous. I mean, it is horrendous. I mean, of course I don't want to win the league, and I don't want any success for them because their fan base can be deplorable. But as a fan, being objective, like you said, of course, I mean, horrendous. And for us, it'd be horrendous. Premier League for me every day of the week, always has been. But to take it back off them, it just goes to show you that back-to-backs, and it's not for everyone.
It's not easy, is it? No, it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And when we won those back-to-backs, breaking records left, right, and centre like we were doing, phenomenal. And then people wrote us off because of the bad season. Well, not a bad season. Hold on. Let me just double check. It was.
It's like us getting 2 back-to-back top tens.
Yeah,
you know,
81 points. And I'm not even sure anybody will win the league this year with 81 points. So, you know, Liverpool were just exceptionally consistent last year. They weren't blowing everyone away. They were 1-0s, 2-1s, things. And that's what you need to win the league. And they were ultra consistent compared to we were just so in and out all season. But we did have, you know, a lot of players out injured throughout the whole year. They suddenly got Van Dijk out injured. And they've had a couple of other injuries, and they're all moaning and whining and whinging. Well, that was our season last season for the whole season.
I mean, every team goes through patches where they get injured.
Of course they do. Of course
it's like we went through how many times we never get a penalty. You know, I'm sort of like,
And then you only have to look at United, and I think they've already had. Was it 19 penalties or something already this season? I mean, it's frightening.
And VAR messing things up for everyone.
If we had 19 penalties so far this season, we would have missed 17.
It levels itself out, doesn't it? I mean, all that levels itself out. Being objective,
well, it might do. I'm not sure, but I mean, you know, it's all swings and roundabouts.
Just one of the comments there, it's just disappeared. Was saying like, if we get through February, this is a City fan. Was saying if we get through February, we're 90% chance of winning the league. I presume getting through February means beating us, then beating. You play Liverpool after us. That's the weekend, is it?
Yeah, we've got that. We've got Spurs. We've got Arsenal. We've got the Champions League starts again against Mönchengladbach away.
Okay.
So we have got a tough February coming up. A very tough.
Yeah.
But we've just got Laporte back. He's just played his first game, so we've got a little bit of cover there. Hopefully, we'll have Aki back as well very soon. Kevin De Bruyne, I don't think will be 6 weeks out. I think it'll be more 3 to 4.
How long has he been out now, De Bruyne?
Well, just about 10 days. About 10 days, 12 days. So I can't see it being 6 weeks. But because notoriously, every time he's had an injury, it's been, it's going to be out for 3 months, and he's back within 2. So hopefully, I think he might be a 4.
Subhuman, isn't he? He's subhuman. He's kind of like
unbelievable.
Meant himself.
But we've done so well. I mean, we've had the likes of Ilkay Gundogan, who's our star player. All right, Diaz is our best player, but I mean, Ilkay Gundogan's just been phenomenal. And then you've got the likes of Joao Cancelo playing in that false 8 role. You're gonna have to be careful if he plays tomorrow on Wednesday as well. So, shall we move on to the lineup because we've got 6 minutes left. So, my lineup for tomorrow, and please, if you want to put yours in the comments below. I know I did see a load of people did put their comments in on the community chat earlier today. So thank you so much for putting that in. I might just have to bring it up just to say thank you. We had, very quickly, we had FIFA M says Ederson, Cancelo, Stones, Diaz, Walker, Foden, Gundogan, Rodri, Bernardo, Jesus, and Raz. Joseph Thomas said Ederson, Stones, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, Gundogan, Bernardo, Sterling, Foden, and Jesus. Harge says Ederson, Cancelo, Diaz, Stones, Zinchenko, Rodri, Gundogan, Bernardo, Mahrez, Sterling, Foden. And Jack Lee says Ederson, Cancelo, Laporte, Stones, Zinke, Rodri, Gundogan, Bernardo, Sterling, Foden, and Jesus. And Lankow says Ederson, Cancelo, Stones, Diaz, Mendy, Rodri, Gundogan, Foden, Bernardo, Jesus, and Sterling. So that's their lineups, and you can see people will have commented theirs here. Charlie Everett, Ederson, Cancelo, Diaz, Stones, Zinchenko, Rodri, Gundogan, Bernardo, Sterling, Foden, and Mahrez. OG the baby says Diaz needs to be arrested. I think not against Liverpool. I think he means for Liverpool. Let's hope he's arrested against Liverpool, please. King of Assist is on. How are you, mate? A little bit late, but don't worry, you can catch it back. Sean says Ederson, Diaz. Yeah, we read Sean's earlier. Dupay, Ederson, Cancelo, Diaz, Stones, Mendy, Gundo, Bernardo, Rodri, Mahrez, Sterling, Foden. There you go. So my lineup before we finish, I'm going for Ederson in net for obvious reasons. I think because Walker played the other night, I think Cancelo will occupy that right role. Though I picked Cancelo the other night, but he didn't. Walker played. But I think Cancelo will play on that right probably in that false 8 role. So you're going to have to be very careful of him. He don't play as a natural right back at the moment. He plays in that 8. Diaz and Stones for me, because Stones didn't play the other night. Now, left back, I'm torn because Zinchenko's played quite a lot lately and has been very, very good in that position, even though he's not a natural left back. Or do we play Laporte there and give him some more game time as a left back in the left back position? I don't know. I can't make my mind up. Either Zinchenko or Laporte. I think Rodri, because Fernandinho played the other night, so Rodri will be back in the CDM role. Head of him and going for Gundogan and Bernardo, two players who, Gundogan in particular, has been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Another player you're going to have to be very careful of, because he normally, in the past when we played you, has been in a bit of a deeper role. He drifts to that edge of that number 10 role, and he makes some brilliant runs. And this finishing so far this season has been superb. So you're going to have to be very careful you don't let him, you know, that David Silva role where he finds pockets and, oh shit, where's he gone? That's what he's doing at the moment. You're going to have to be really careful. Bernardo's now hitting a bit of form after the whole Ben Mendy thing. Pep mentioned it today in the press, saying the whole Ben Mendy tweet really affected him after the Premier League banned him, or the FA banned him, because Ben Mendy's one of his best friends and he found it really tough. So I'm going to go Rodri, Gundo, Bernardo. Up front, I'm going Foden on the left. He's been brilliant, really, really good. Sterling on the right. Didn't play the other night. And I'm going to go stick with Gabby Jesus. Would I play Torres there? Maybe. But I think he might stick with Gabby Jesus because he scored the other night. Sometimes Gabby might go on a little bit of a run. So that's my team. Ederson, Cancelo.
I think he scored a few against us as well, hasn't he, Jesus?
He has. Yeah, he has. He has.
Outings, so.
I don't think there's going to be any time for Aguero. He might make the bench, but I'd be very surprised. I think he'd be saved. Maybe for the Liverpool game. Maybe, but I don't know.
It's massive, that game, isn't it? For you?
It's huge. The good thing is like, who'd have thought where we were only a month or two ago? We were talking about Liverpool possibly. They were 5-6 points ahead of us. We depending on what happens, will go into that game potentially top of the league, 7 points ahead of Liverpool.
Yeah.
We've got that cushion now where if we get beat, we're still 4 points ahead. So it's great for us. I don't know whether it's a good thing going into the game being that far ahead or what, but I'd rather be that than thinking this is a must-win game. Because if we win it, wow, we put 10 points between us and Liverpool, and then we have to worry about, we could go in a bad run, but it's United then, and now United keep picking up points. So I'm going to go for, I'm always cautious of the Burnley game. It's rarely a walkover. But we're in such a good vein of form. I really can't see you scoring. I'd be surprised if you score. Put it that way, because we're playing so well defensively. It'll take a massive cock up. So I'm going to go City, and I agree with you. I'm going City 2-0. Because I think it'll be tight. It might be a one in the first, one in the second, but who knows? And who knows on a Pep lineup? I can never call it. I'm rubbish. But let's go back and just see anybody else in the comments. Alec Johnson says rest Zinchenko. Jesus will start scoring. He knows Aguero is back. Oh, yeah, interesting point. I can see that Liverpool game being a 0-0 or 1-1. Kurt's on, one of our moderators and presenters. I'm tagged in a nice cuppa when this finishes. Don't know about anyone else. Aguero is going nowhere. I don't think he is going anywhere. And Lancal's going for 3-0. But anyway, Scott,
it's just one of those. It seems like we're like, you know, at school, there's always someone that bullies you. It's kind of like it's just City decide to bully us, and not for any particular reason or anything like that, you know. It just seems like, just give us a bit of a break, will you? And Martin's, I saw Martin's just joined in that and said 4-0. So
has he gone 4-0? Has he gone 4-0 there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he did say, rarely a walkover. Come on, Andy, we do very well against Burnley. I can remember that Sergio goal that just probably won us the title that season. So, yeah, it was a very late sort of mishit type of, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
from
that was a scrappy game, wasn't it?
It was a terrible game.
Yeah.
DJ No says 3-0. Andy Milne saying 2-0. Neil thinks it's going to be 2-1. So others here think it's going to be a tight game. Leonard says 2-0. So again, I don't think apart from Martin, mind you, I think Martin has said 5-0s and all sorts of stuff lately, but he has got a couple of results right. He thinks it's going to be 4-0. Alec, Kurt's thinking it's going to be 3-1. Anyone else? Dupe thinks so. He thinks it's going to be 4-0.
What are the odds on Burnley winning?
I've no idea. I've absolutely no idea.
That might change some of the comments in the column. if we do, we're going to win a few grand.
They might be. Might be worth putting a tenner on, because I'm sure there'll be pretty decent odds. Scott doesn't have his own channel, but Scott, do you want to tell everybody? I'll post it in the comments here where they can follow you on Twitter, or you can in the comments.
SEKOTT.
It's on Twitter. It's go.
Yeah, at SEKOTT. Scott spelled differently.
Yes, and they can follow you on Instagram as well, can't they?
Same handle. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Scott. If you don't know what Scott has done, is the runaway challenge, and he did run to all of the away games from Burnley. Believe it or not, from Burnley, he ran to every away game for one season. Raised an awful lot of money for charity. We met him at the Etihad, had a good chat, and then did that sponsored. Well, we had that charity day, didn't we, in Manchester City Centre? A special brewery there, which was a great day. But Scott, thank you so much again for coming, buddy. I really appreciate it.
This year I'm doing the run a day challenge, not the runaway challenge. So I've run every day so far in January. I'm not really doing it for charity yet, but maybe as it picks up, I might do a bit later. But just keep your head in shape by keeping your legs moving. That's all I've got to say.
There you go. Don't forget, Tom is gonna run. He's gonna run with Scott, and we're gonna make sure Scott gives him a proper run, not a 5K, not anything. We're gonna get Tom to do a proper run.
Yeah, I'm in training for that, Tom.
There you go. So Tom, you better get your trainers on and start doing a few runs per day to make sure you're fit enough to last with him. But listen, thank you so much again, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. I'll be messaging you on Wednesday night.
See you on the other side.
This is Andy from Man City on TV.
Semi-final of the cup, something like that, maybe.
Hey, that bit further than you got last time. But anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Again, thank you for all your comments. Do appreciate it. Don't forget, subscribe, hit that bell icon. We are so close to 16,000 subscribers. Be brilliant if we can get that in the next 24, 48 hours. But this is Scott, this is Andy. Take care. And don't forget, tune in on Wednesday for Martin's Watch Along. And we'll see you soon.